A major step in the battle against Ebola. The first human trials of an Ebola vaccine will start next week here in the U.S. Made by GlaxoSmithKline and proven safe during tests on animals, the vaccine was fast-tracked for testing on humans by the National Institutes of Health. Now, the testing will take place at the NIH Clinical Center in Bethesda, Maryland. It'll also be tested this fall in Britain and the African nations of Mali and Gambia. All this comes with the World Health Organization now predicting 20,000 people could become infected in the Ebola epidemic in West Africa. That is more than triple the current number, and that the epidemic could spread to 10 more countries. It is the worst Ebola outbreak in history, killing more than 1,500 people in Liberia, Sierra Leone, Guinea, and Nigeria. Well, joining me now is Dr. Frank Esper, an infectious disease specialist at University Hospital's Case Medical Center in Cleveland. Doctor, with a welcome to you. I understand this trial will involve 20 healthy adults who are going to get this shot in the arm. They're going to see first if the vaccine's safe, and second, if it generates an immune response to protect against Ebola infections. How promising is this vaccine in the tests on monkeys?
You know, on the monkeys actually showed to be very effective, and that what we do is we look at the amount of antibodies that is generated by this vaccine, and we can tell also then we can actually challenge those monkeys with the infection if need be to see how many of those monkeys actually get sick, and if so, how sick that they get. And this vaccine has actually been very safe and does induce protection in monkeys, and we expect it would do the same in humans.
Okay. Doctor, it's important to point out it is a vaccine, so it does not help people infected with Ebola currently. The hope is preventing future outbreaks and to be on the front lines, I imagine, for health workers, right?
Well, absolutely. And I'll actually take a step back. While the vaccine may or may not we don't know. We're not trying to use this vaccine as a therapy for anyone who has infection, although it may help. It's just not, we're not looking at that just yet. That's going to be way down the line. Right now, we want to stop the spread of infection. That's what this vaccine is being designed for. It's going to be used mainly for those people, for the health workers, as well as close contacts and people who are caring for those individuals, because they're the ones who are at risk of getting infected themselves.
So the injections begin next week. How long does it take to get the results?
You know, it's going to take a while, because right now there are 3 phases in order to test any drug or vaccine, and right now we're at the beginning phase, phase 1. All this phase is dedicated for is to ensure that this vaccine is safe. The second phase, they will actually see whether or not there's any benefit, and the third phase is there to prove that there's a benefit, that the vaccine does what it's supposed to do. But this phase, they're going to be starting off with very low doses of this vaccine, looking at the immune response and making sure and watching the people who volunteer to receive this vaccine, making sure that they don't have any side effects or any problems.
And Doctor, I want to point out, this is different from the experimental therapy that American missionaries Dr. Kent Brantley and Nancy Wright-Bold received. Both are doing well now, we're glad to say. But 3 Liberian doctors apparently also received that therapy.
Yes.
1 died, other 2 have recovered now. So what about using that drug more widely? Well,
certainly that drug would be is useful, and that's also using antibodies. In the vaccine, you make your own antibodies to protect yourself. In the drug that we gave to the doctors, as well as several people across in Africa, we actually generated those antibodies ourselves and then gave a whole whopping dose of those antibodies to people who are actually sick, whereas the vaccine is there to prevent the illness before it even gets established. Can we make enough of those antibodies is the question, because to make antibodies in the lab, even with the use of animals to generate those antibodies, it takes a lot, and we still don't really know how well those antibodies do for protection against, to treat the disease. And so we need to figure out exactly how much antibody is needed.
Okay,
and so
Dr.
we're still figuring that out.
I do appreciate your insights. Thank you, Doctor.
It's good to be here. Thank you, Alex.
No charges will be filed in the death of a gun instructor at an Arizona shooting range, and that tops our look at stories